Hey everybody, it's Dream Trades, and I'm back with another trade recap. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing these every single day from now on. Anytime I trade, I'm gonna go over either all or at least most of the trades that I take if they're significant enough to go over. And today I'll be doing a recap of all my trades on SPY, TripAdvisor, and Apple. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into the recaps. So the first trades that I took today were Apple. I wanted to take it above 135. Yeah, I wanted to take it for the breakout above 135. Seemed like it had a good pre-market. It level held and then it started coming up. But it got rejected at 134.95, and then it looked like it was holding this the 10 EMA and the 20 EMA, and it looked like they wanted to break out. So I bought just one contract. I just bought one contract, and I said I was gonna take a stop loss at around 10%. And the contracts, they're moving real slow, so I was okay holding it for a little bit because I know Apple sometimes tends to sell off in the morning and then break my levels. It happens just regularly, so I thought today was gonna be one of those days, but it wasn't. So it came under the 200 moving average, and then I just cut my loss. I was like, all right, it's choppy. I don't know what's gonna happen, so I cut it. And then I re-entered again a second time on Apple. At the time while I was watching it, it was actually holding above the 200 moving average, and this candle right here had closed above the 200 moving average. And I always say the 200 moving average always acts as a support, and it always acts as a resistance. And it seemed like it was forming a support on 200 moving average at the time I was watching it. It didn't, and you can see that it actually broke down, and I ended up cutting my loss here at premiums are honestly, they were moving even slower, so I ended up cutting my loss here at 3%. So it was nice that such a move like this only made me cut my loss at 3%, because I was up a little bit. I was up a couple, but I wanted to see if it could at least break this little pivot high right here. If it could at least break this right here, and then eventually go up and break above 135, because like I said, it recovers, and Apple tends to always do that. But it didn't yet, or it didn't while I was watching it, and it actually broke down, and it was kind of silly of me to not even see that it was forming a bear flag. But see that in hindsight, and you just got to improve for the next time. So if I were to take off the moving averages, right, and just show you, like, so it came up, it got rejected by 135 and came down like that, right? So I'll put this right here, and then it started forming a support, and that's the support I bought in at. But just like I say in all my videos, and just like the last video where I talked about the bear flags are a continuation pattern, and I thought that it was going to reverse on a 200 moving average, and I didn't notice the bear flag forming. But you see that it got rejected, and then it started forming a minor support, and it was struggling, like the buyers were struggling to come up and bring it back up to 135, at least in the moment. And then it broke down below this little pivot low, and continued downwards. And the thing about bear flags, or just like any continuation pattern, is that they tend to, the first move, like before it forms, tends to be the second move afterwards. So if I were to take this right here, you see how it's the same length? If I put it down, it's roughly the same length as well. Yeah, so it's a nice little trick that I always like to use for bear flags, or just any sort of flag or pennant pattern that I see, that so I can decide where to either enter and like try to catch a reversal, or to get out and take profits. So yeah, I lost on that trade. I lost both trades on Apple today, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So for the next trade, what did I take? I took TripAdvisor. I entered TripAdvisor right around here. I entered TripAdvisor right here. I think it was. It was like, all right. It wasn't a support or it wasn't a resistance, but volume was low and it wasn't really like doing much. So, and I was still bullish on it. Like, all right, I'll just buy one contract, see what happens. What am I doing? Let's buy one contract and see if it holds or if it makes highs. And it just didn't. It continued downwards, and then the market started selling off just a tiny bit, and then it caused this giant red candle right here. Cut it at 20%. It's whatever. It was a small position, so it didn't really affect me whatsoever. All my positions, you just gotta manage your risk and make sure that losses don't kill you, so it's easy to make it back up the next day or in the next couple of trades. But yeah, I exited right here because I said I want to see it hold the 51 level that I had mentioned in my watch list video yesterday. And it didn't look like it was, especially with this right here. This is a very, very bearish candle. Because the way, when you know how candles form, candles open right here, like this candle open right here, and then close down here. So it means that this candle, it had opened down here and then it came up a little bit, and that's how it formed the wick, because buyers pushed it up, but it was rejected by this level and it came down and then closed just a little bit, but you can see that it was still being held, this level right here. And same thing with this doji right here. It just means that there's indecision, but I get the support eventually was kind of it was held for a little bit and it came back up, but it still wasn't strong enough for it to go into new highs, and it continued selling off. So I cut my loss at, it was around 22%. And again, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some, and I just didn't happen to be right in this instance. And then for the trades that I had taken on SPY, I had entered on, I think it was this candle right here. I had entered on this candle right here, because I saw that this is a strong wide body candle. Wide body meaning like there's no wicks, and it opened and it closed at the high of the candle. So it's a strong body right there for like, and if I were to compare it to a weak body candle, this would be a weak body. All of these would be like weak bodies, or real tiny bodies. But this is a strong body, and it broke out of this 417 level that I was watching. So I said, all right, I'm gonna buy some calls. I've bought 2 calls, and then I closed up here. I closed it up here for, I think it was, what was it? It was 13%. Yeah, I closed it up here for a 13% profit. And then, yeah, it was a real simple trade, real simple scalp trade. Took 4 minutes. So 13%. Let's just say I had $1,000 in calls, right? 13%. That's $130. It just goes to show you how it doesn't really take much to make make money scalping. It's just about your position sizing and, of course, managing your risks so you can take losses and still be alive and still be in the game to trade another day. And then this was the next trade that I had took. I had bought calls on this one right here because I wanted to see, it started selling off, and then I wanted to see this support hold right here at 417.25, because that was originally the pre-market level that I was watching. So yeah, I wanted to see this level hold, and it did. And then I said, okay, it looks like it wants to break out above the 1760 level. So I'm gonna enter calls right here, and it's kind of tested, and then it eventually broke out. And this one, it was a little choppy, but it did continue moving up. And I said I was gonna get out once I got a close on the 10 moving average, just because sometimes, just like all the other moving averages, they always act as a support. So I was just gonna wait for it to pull back and close under it. So I was in from here all the way through, but I don't know why this giant rejection candle happened, but SPY tends to do that. So I should have just I should have just took my profit up here, but I ended up having to close at 3%. I didn't want to wait and eventually get caught in another like sell off and close at a loss when I was profitable. I was up around 20% on this one. It would have been better if I had zero date expiration contracts, but decided to take one that expired on the 28th. And so yeah, I ended up closing right here at plus 3% profit. It is what it is. And yeah, those are the 5 trades that I took today. Took 2 trades on SPY. Both of them were profitable. And then the trade that I took on TripAdvisor was a loss. And so was the 2 trades on Apple. Those are both losses. And looking back, it was kind of silly of me to oh wait, take a look. This is actually an inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. It's pretty cool. Hold on, yeah, so you have that's the shoulder, and then this counts as a head. This is the second shoulder, and then and the way you trade in inverse head and shoulders is you have to pay attention to something called a neckline. So there's this resistance right here, and well, not really neckline. So it would be more like this. All you do is just wait for the breakout or the breakdown, and with an inverse head and shoulder, that's a bullish pattern. So yeah, you just wait for the breakout, and you can see, like I always talk about, wide body candle on a breakout. And once it broke out, you just continued up for a little bit. And that's how you would trade it inverse head and shoulders. Real simple, easy pattern. One of my favorite patterns to trade, to be honest, but it's not something that you see very often. So yeah, as I was saying, in hindsight, I should have been able to see this format, and normally I would have. But the thing that I was doing differently than I normally do when I trade is I was trying to experiment and take multiple scalp trades at once. And in doing that, I was distracted because I'm watching multiple charts with positions in 2 different stocks that I'm why I always feel like I start burping and I get gassy once I start recording the video, and it's so annoying. But anyways, as I was saying, I should have saw this happening, and it was silly of me to try to re-enter into another call, because this was a continuation pattern, and it clearly got rejected at the 135 level. So I shouldn't. But I mean, it is what it is. I cut my loss, and that's the most important thing. Just how am I reacting to what's actually happening? And I cut my loss, and I didn't end up having to take a fat L because of it. Because I was wrong. And you're going to be wrong when you're trading sometimes, and there's nothing you can do except manage your risk and just make as much money as you can when you're right. But I'm going to continue watching the 135 level for a break. It's been struggling to break above this level for a while. And I know my chart is messy, but this right here, this is another bull flag pattern forming. So it came up, and then now it's just kind of consolidating. And you just gotta wait for the break above 135. And once that happens, I think it's gonna continue. Or what we can see is just another rejection, and it'll maybe come back down to the near support. That being the 20 moving average, or this one 130 level that I have. Well, yeah, that's how it went for the day. Kind of mad that I didn't end up taking BA like I had said I would. That was also on my watch list yesterday, but you know, you do the best you can. And with limited capital, there's only so much you can do. You can't just like take trades and trades. You just have to be real selective. And in this case, I just happened to select wrong. Whatever. Um, yeah, BA broke out above all my levels, and then these would have had some nice, easy textbook trades. Breakout, pullback, bounced on the support, and then it came up, broke out again, pull back, found a new support, came right back up. Easy trades right there that I could have taken. I could have just traded Boeing, to be honest, all day and well, not all day, but all morning, and I would have been fine. But wasn't watching it, and I was watching multiple stocks and trading multiple stocks at once. And after today, that's not something I'm ever gonna do again, just because it was too much to manage. It was distracting. Um, and I like to really manage and watch each and every candle and how they're forming, so I can know when to enter and when to exit at the best place possible. And yeah, so that's it for today. Uh, Hope you learned something. Thank you for watching, and I will see you. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video.